LA podcast, an idiot's guide made by people who have no idea what they're doing. I am your host, Jessica Sprague, along with my hot husband, Andrew. How are you?
Husband. Mm-hmm. One more for alliteration. I guess, do you have to have 3 for alliteration, or can you have 2?
No, it could be 2.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah. I'll take it.
Grammar lesson for
I'm doing great. Just another day in quarantine. Just another day.
One more day.
Yep.
Well, last week we released the Price is Right episode. We recorded that before all the shit hit the fan.
Right.
So
we invited our audience to come on down, listen to it, check it out.
We do. That originally was going to be a bonus episode, but since we just went... It says it was a big deal, and we went into a lot of detail. We decided just to release it as its own episode. So still check it out. It's really informative, and hopefully it'll change someone's lives one day.
Right,
because
if you
it definitely
love
changed
that show
ours.
or you love any other game shows, we really give an inside scoop into how it went down and how I was able to get picked. And obviously all the behind the scenes, all the information people don't know, what happens to the prizes, especially with everything happening right now. A lot of questions going around, so all of that can be answered and more on our last episode.
Yeah, we let's talk about kind of the response we got, because obviously now we can talk about it. We posted about it on social media, let our friends and family know, and a bunch of people, were a little concerned about your prize for sure.
Well, we actually, if you didn't listen to the previous episode, I don't know why you're randomly picking this one, so I'm just going to assume that you either previously listened to this or you know me personally, but I was a winner on The Price is Right. I won a trip to the Stanley Cup playing a game called Tic-Tac-Toe and had to guess a few prices of different items on the show. I was able to win that, and they told me right after the show that I would be winning cash value of the trip, but I would also still be getting the ticket, so I was trying to figure out a way to go. We wouldn't know when it was going to happen until maybe the week before, so we weren't sure exactly where it was going to be, but after everything got shut down and in quarantine, and the NHL season is probably kaput, a lot of people were asking, oh no, did you get screwed over? And there were actually a bunch of articles written, I shouldn't say bunch in quotes, more than you would expect over this
we didn't
Price
expect
is Right.
any.
But like Barstool Sports, the Bro Bible, Yahoo News, Huffington Post, right, exactly, wrote articles about how much it sucks to be
like
me.
Every article was called "The Poor Bastard."
That poor bastard won on The Price is Right, and is not going to be able to go to the Stanley Cup final, and a lot of people commenting about it and just how much it sucked and stuff. So I tried to get out there and answer people's questions and talk to them about how it really wasn't that bad of an issue, and I look forward to talking to the NHL and figuring out what to do with those tickets. But all in all, it was an awesome prize and an awesome experience. So. Right.
We should be getting everything. The tickets are the only thing that are kind of up in the air. In the clause we signed, it did say that if a prize isn't available, they do have to give us something of equal value. So we are going to get something. It may not be the tickets. It may be just money. It may be NHL merch. Maybe it is still tickets, but for next season, we're not sure. We'll definitely, as soon as we know, we'll let you guys know. And the other thing is like most of our prizes aren't supposed to come for like 3 months. So we don't know when we're going to get everything. But anyway, we will update with you guys, kind of just letting you know like how the process, how we got everything, how long it took, all those things, just to keep you informed. All right, and we talked about it a little bit on our 5th episode. We started a YouTube channel called Sprague Comedy, and the last time we talked about it, which was 2 weeks ago, we have released 2 more videos. One is a Love is Blind parody, and the other is a little just silly quarantine-type video of our dog making sure that we're following quarantine rules, so check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's getting a lot of traction, and we definitely would appreciate a subscribe. So this is for current Los Angelinos. So if you are listening to this, definitely check this out. We learned of something called the Thai Council, which is a group of just different Thai restaurants in Los Angeles who are kind of coming together to kind of make it so, like, people who are struggling financially to eat will be able to kind of eat out more, and also to help their business as well, because more people will be eating out, where they have a list of items on every menu that they get to choose that are only $5. Now, the catch is you can't get it delivered. You have to go pick it up. So that is a catch. Like, make sure that you can safely pick it up, because it's definitely a really good deal. We live in Thai town, so it's really easy for us to just walk over there and pick it up. So that's definitely a huge plus for us. But check it out. We'll put a link in our episode description of the list of restaurants that are participating, so you can actually go and see if there's anyone near you that you would be able to pick up from, and just support local businesses, especially Thai restaurants, because they're really good. Alright, so we're going to give our LA tips of the week. I will start with mine. So the LA tip that I have is something that I've heard a lot from different people living here, and also Andrew had kind of talked to me about it before, but they take jaywalking real seriously here. Like, they do not fuck around if people are crossing the street with not on a crosswalk. I believe the fine is like $250 if they catch you jaywalking. So definitely, sometimes the crosswalks are like few and far between for some reason, so it is really tempting to just cross the street if no cars are coming. But definitely, you don't want to get that fine. You don't want to get caught, because we talked to someone who did get caught, and he's like, it's not worth it. Like, that's a lot of money, especially living in LA, just to save a few minutes of your time, because you didn't want to go find a crosswalk. So definitely make sure that you're very adamant about that.
Okay, my tip is also for people who are currently living in LA or LA County, at least, especially during quarantine because of the virus. The governor and the mayor release some disaster funds. If you are in need of food, need of money to pay rent, they are letting people apply to receive just a direct Visa gift card, I think, so you can use it on almost anything. But there's limitations. You have to have made very little money. We'll put a link in the episode so you can check it out if you qualify. But for 1 to 2 people, you can get up to $700 immediately. It took like 5 minutes for me to do it, so you should be able to hear back from it in a few days. So if you are hitting hard times, obviously we all are, but if you're in extreme poverty or you are at the brink of getting kicked out of your apartment, reach out. This one specifically just launched within the last week that this podcast came out, so you can take advantage of it. And that's just some emergency funding. And there's more for larger families. It goes up to, $1,100, and then families of more than 6, it's like $1,500. So just a straight direct debit card that you will be able to get. So some social benefits out there.
Each week we review an LA restaurant and experiences in a segment we like to call Review Some Stews and Do's. The restaurant that we're going to review this week is called the Dresden.
Ooh.
This is a really nice restaurant that we went to the night that we won the Price is Right, because we were like, fuck it, we're going to get some prime rib. So, because prime rib is like Andrew's favorite food of all time. So we definitely wanted to go out and splurge and have a good time. So the Dresden is kind of an old, like, Hollywood, like, kind of what you would imagine an old, nice Hollywood restaurant to look like. It was a place that, like, Mad Men filmed, and it was just, like, it was really nice, swanky, had a nice, like, half-circle booth that we sat in. Andrew got the prime rib, as you can imagine. How did you like it?
It was great. I mean, it was expensive, but that's exactly why we went there. So,
but even then, I would say that, sorry to interrupt, but I would say that, like, when I was looking around, I still was kind of trying to find one that wasn't, like, crazy expensive. This one was actually compared to, like, a lot of the ones that I was looking at, was actually one of the cheaper ones. It was like $30 for the prime rib, which is still, like, a lot, but for a fancy place, that actually wasn't too bad from what I could see. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the food and the service, like you were saying. It really makes you feel like you're back in the early 50s or something just by the tuxedo attire that most people are wearing. Not that you have to be wearing that as a customer, but it certainly is a place that you could go to have drinks and talk business and the fortunes of mankind and all those things. So you could easily see Dom Draper over there in the corner smoking a cigarette and chatting away with the ladies. So very much felt that way.
And what I got was the New Zealand rack of lamb. It was very good. Lamb is probably my favorite meat. I really enjoy it. So whenever I go to a fancy restaurant, that's usually what I got. And it definitely was very good. In terms of drinks, they had a cocktail menu that, like, a lot of the stuff looked really cool. For some reason, I just wanted a rosé. Now looking back on it, I'm like, I should have tried some of the cocktails. They kind of looked really good. I know you had like a mocktail that was like a strawberry mocktail. I tried to find it on the menu. I don't see anything for the mocktails, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that's why the waiter, I said, oh, do you have any mocktails? He goes, yes, right away, sir. And he winked at me. And then he, brought it back. So I assume you can't find it on the menu.
Yeah, that's the prohibition. He has to go down for the non-alcoholic stuff. Just because only everyone orders alcohol. But yeah, check it out. It was really delicious, and definitely a place that if you want to just something to celebrate like we did, it's great to go to. Okay, and then what we're going to review is something that we actually did back in July of last year. We came down here with a group of friends from our improv troupe, and Andrew had heard about the Museum of Death. If you want
a sorceress priestess. Talk to me.
Yeah, if you want to talk about like what you know about it, since you're the one who recommended it and brought us there.
What I know about death, I know more than any man could possibly think. What do I know about the Museum of Death?
Well, it was fucking crazy. I'll read off a little info. Let me go back to
give them like a
I'll
taste
restart.
of just what a...
Okay, so the Museum of Death actually has 2 locations here in LA
What?
and in
that.
New Orleans, so definitely a creepy place there as well. It was founded in 1995 by J.D. Healy and Catherine Schultz. The museum's stated goal being to make people happy to be alive. It is a true crime person's, like, wet dream.
Oh, yeah. A wet nightmare.
A wet nightmare, exactly. That's great.
Well, let's kind of talk about, like, the different rooms in there. So, first of all, it's kind of an interesting-looking building. It's, like, covered in just leaves and hedges and vines and stuff like that. The gate has a giant skull on it. So you go in, and it's super tiny, which is part of why it feels so claustrophobic, because it's so tiny and you're just surrounded by just so much death that it's like, oh, like it's rough to go through. But essentially, it's like anything you can think about with death, they have a room for it. So the first room you go into is like dedicated to serial killers, and it is it is so creepy because they actually have, like, relics from the actual serial killers. Like, they have John Wayne Gacy's clown shoes there.
Oh, God.
They have his art, like, his actual art that he painted. They had notes from different serial killers that they wrote. And, like, I don't believe in God and devil and whatever, but it just genuinely felt very evil.
Oh, you better start believing, Jessica.
I know. But I was like, oh, like that was really rough. So that's like, they hit you hard at first. But it's like serial killers are like the biggest thing right now. Like, people are so interested in them.
It's such a horrifying thought. I know what you're saying, but just literally the sentence of serial killers are all the rage right now.
Right. Like, people, like, we are very serious when we say, like, if you love true crime, like, this is definitely a place that you're just going to be so immersed in for a long time. But they have rooms that are like execution methods. Like I think they had the real electric chair that I can't remember who it was, but some big killer was murdered on. And, you know, different like just descriptions of execution methods, and then they have a room for like mortician stuff, like how to properly prepare a body for the coffin, things like that. Then they have like accidental murders, like pictures of car crashes in the 50s where like cars were just not equipped for safety, so people were just like thrown out the window, had their heads chopped off, just gore like crazy.
Yeah, that was before they told people not to drive with axes.
Yeah. They thought that's
so,
what would keep
so
them
many
safe.
of those. No, the tragedy. We make light of tragedy.
Yeah, well, that's what we have to do, or else we feel very upset. So, but, you know, just different pictures of murders that were just brutal, like dismembership, like
dismemberment.
rape.
Dismembership.
Sorry.
You have been
Dismemberment. No. It's like disfellowship, I think is what in my brain I was thinking. The Mormon in me.
Oh, is that what happened to
that.
Boromir? He got disfellowshipped?
Yeah, yes. He was not dismembered, he was disfellowshipped. And then, you know, there are different rooms. There was one based on Heaven's Gate that was, if people don't know, the Heaven's Gate is a cult where they just drink poison Kool-Aid.
Marshall Applewhite, that's right.
Yes, Marshall Applewhite. That's a murderer's name for sure. And so they drank it in their beds, they covered themselves with sheets, and they just, like, the authorities walked in on just everyone dead in their bunk beds, kind of thing like that. But they had the VHS playing.
Or sleep over ever.
Yeah. But they had the VHS playing that he made that tricked, that basically brainwashed everyone. And so it was really creepy seeing, because they had like these mannequins in there. It was just like this closed case with mannequins, like the blankets like on them, and then they have the VHS playing in the background. Like they do a really good job of just like really embodying how awful, like, and terrifying these things were. A quick note, for some reason, there's like this helicopter outside of our apartment that's circled like 8 times, and we've been just waiting here for.
We're not coming out! Bring the supplies first!
Yeah.
We don't pick up the phone till we get what's on the list!
To clarify, it's not circling us, it just keeps like making noise, so I'm sorry if you hear it in the background, but we're just gonna keep going because for some reason it's not going away. So anyway, the other thing I was gonna say was that they have a whole room dedicated to LA murders, like Charles Manson and the Black Dahlia,
OJ,
different places, different events in LA, which, I mean, unfortunately a lot has happened in LA because a lot of people are vulnerable when they come here, and so they're very easy targets, unfortunately. So,
and it's one of the biggest cities in the world. So.
Right, exactly. So it was really interesting, also very just like, ooh, like I live here, but luckily that stuff has kind of ceased a little bit. Definitely, I would be afraid to live here in the 70s or 60s, but I think I'm okay. But yeah, so they're just different little things. They talk about Nazis, they talk about Hollywood deaths, like they had a picture of Marilyn Monroe on the slab after she overdosed, you know, just dead, and like had JFK's head, like a picture of his head blown to pieces, which is something I've never seen. You know, I don't think that's something the government necessarily wants you to see, but that is like a picture that they have.
And when you're getting hit from that close range from the grassy knoll, it's going to do some damage.
Exactly. And then I think the last room is like of taxidermy for animals, which is like that. It's cool, but I'm like, well, after all this like terror that I've had, and then the last basically room is like a taxidermy room. I'm like, okay, whatever. But the point is, it's very close knit. It's very small, but there's a lot to unpack. Like it is. I did not have an appetite the rest of the day.
Do not go if you are faint of heart.
Yeah.
But
and I'm not a person that gets too freaked out about that stuff, but just because it took maybe an hour and a half to go through everything, because everything was just so engrossing to read and look at, that like it does take some time to
right. We could have spent a lot more time if we really cared, if we were super into this.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm not too big of a true crime fan. It just seemed like an interesting thing to go do. So if you really were into it, there's information on like every placard that has exactly all the, you know, stuff that, oh, this used to be this way, or this is when that occurred. And so, yeah, you could spend a lot of time in there. And I actually think they just recently moved buildings. Obviously, they're not open because of the quarantine, but when they do reopen, they are in a different place in LA than they were before. So we were able to get in, and maybe they're larger space because they have more stuff, because they also maybe want to space it out and have more people be able to walk through at a given time than they do now. So
yeah, maybe. But the point is, we thought it's definitely, for me, it was worth going through, but I would never do it again because it really was just so. It made me feel very like physically ill afterward, but it was a good physically ill, if that makes sense. It was an interesting one,
right? And they got exactly what their statement was. I appreciated being live much more after I left. So Okay, so each week we do an improv scene or something comedically, because we are comedians. So this week we're going to just do an improv scene based on a question. So if, Andrew, you just want to give me the question. Okay, my question for you is, who is the worst coworker you ever worked with?
Yeah, there was this lady at Target that... She doesn't work there anymore, and hasn't worked there for a while.
She's the CEO of Walmart now.
Yeah. No. But her name was Sherry, and like, I don't know, she was like in her 40s, I want to say, and she talked like this.
We hate people.
Well, it's because, I guess I only mention that because I'm like, I'm in my 20s, she's in her 40s, and I just feel like it's petty to, like, as a 40-year-old to be mean to a 25-year-old, 24-year-old. I don't know. But she talked like this, like, no joke. She, like, talked like this, like, super bad, vocal fry. But she was
she
like,
wasn't on customer service on the phone.
No, she was, oh God, her customer service was awful. I, like, witnessed a few times customers getting upset at her, being like, hey, like, I was trying to get help from you.
Don't try to kiss me.
Yeah. She was like, they were like, I was trying to get help from you, but you were being really rude. And she would act like, oh, what? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be, like, rude. But she just, like, she just...
Do you think that was her genuine personality?
Yeah, I think she just, like, but, like, not in a, like, like, she, like, I think she knows that she's being bitter and whatever. She's just not doing anything about it. You know what I mean? Like, she could be nice. And I have seen her be nice. Not very often, but I know it's possible. You know what I mean? But she worked there for, like, a long time. And so she just felt like everything needed to be done the way that she has always done it. And so if we were given different instructions by our manager and we did it that way, she wouldn't only come and tell us that we were doing it wrong. She would go to different managers and literally lie to them. We, like, caught her lying to them, saying, like, they're like not working, they're being lazy, they're, you know, like, things aren't getting done, and would just gossip to everyone and just like complain about us for no reason. It made no sense.
How did you catch her? You said you caught her.
Well, because she wasn't very bad. She was very bad at being subtle. Like, we would walk by.
She always had her tits hanging out.
Yeah. No, she would be like talking to a manager, and we would walk by and we would, like, hear names and, like, hear her talking about, like, I feel like in a way she wanted us to hear it or something. I don't know, but she was such a bitch. Like, she made me cry. Like, I went and grabbed a manager and I cried because, like, all day I'd worked, because the job I do is really hard. And I just, like, sobbed, and I was like, I'm trying, and she's making it so awful. And, like, I don't even know what they did to punish her. It was just essentially, they told me, like, yeah, she's that way. She's made, like, a lot of coworkers cry. And it's like, well, then fucking fire her. Like, if she's being such a bitch, like... Anyway, I've talked too much about it, but I hated her
This
so
is
much.
a line right in the lawsuit. She always made her coworkers
Right, she did.
Or she had done that many times
they're like,
before.
yeah, we know, she's rude. I'm like, why does she work here still? Just because she's worked here for 12 years, like, that means that you're immune to being fired?
Right.
Anyway.
Or you can be cruel to people. The worst coworker I had, maybe not the worst coworker, but the worst owner. I worked for a short time at a car wash, an automatic car wash facility that was run by this super Baptist Christian guy, which in the middle of Utah is even more strange than the Mormon culture that's already there, is finding somebody that's like even more Christian than they are. And when I worked there, he was just so greedy. It was just all about money, and we weren't making enough, even though the figures were like, 7 figures for this little car wash, and wouldn't allow us to like wear masks and things when, there's shit flying around. Anyway, I bring up that he was terrible because one of the last days that I worked there, rather than get a Christmas bonus, we each got a Christmas card that he hand wrote and illustrated that Christ had risen and saved our souls, and all this just Christian, mumbo jumbo, and nothing, no money or nothing else that went along with it. So I was just fucking furious, and just a terrible owner that was just always about money, but had this golden cross and these golden chains and watches, and yet here he is, rather than giving me a bonus, testifying to me about how wonderful Christ is and how wonderful it is to follow him and be as giving as he is, and yet that's what I received as a present for him. So terrible owner.
Well, it sounds like Christ was on his side.
Right? I guess so. He was, making bank, and I was the one who needed to work as a lowly car wash associate.
Well,
so.
And didn't they, because you were making a lot of commission, because you're a really good salesman, didn't they, like, cut the commission because you were making
right, rather
too
than
much?
just paying me more, I was making so many more sales than everybody else. They just said, oh, we're not going to do commission anymore because it's clear you're making so much money, we're just going to make that a requirement. You just need to sell these, and we're not going to have that. So I'm like, well, you're right, because that's definitely going to entice me to continue working as hard as I am. Well, hey, we're all saved in Christ, so I know that.
That's true.
I learned. I earned the greatest gift of all, and that was eternal life. So.
Yeah, that's true. All right, everyone on this Zoom meeting.
Yep, I'm here.
All right,
Yeah, I'm here.
perfect. All right, guys, this is hard. This is hard times that we've fallen on.
Are we getting fired? Is that what's happening?
No, not exactly.
Oh, thank God.
No. In fact, I just wanted to say that I'm so proud of you guys. You guys have been working double time, working at home for this, for the software company. It's much more daunting.
Why don't you ever say the name? You always just give a phrase. The proper pronouns are great, but this software company, I think that's maybe part of the problem why we're not growing as much as we thought we should.
Okay, I just, I just wanted to make sure that, I don't know. Okay, fine, I'll say the name. That's important to you. Ginny's software. Ginny is my grandmother, and she started the software company long before software was even a thing. She had a big...
Oh, I know the whole story. I'm just asking why you didn't say it.
I don't know, because I'm jumbled in my mind right now. I'm trying to figure out, how to make sure that we stay afloat. But
we are getting fired.
No, you're not getting fired. In fact, you're getting rewarded. You're getting a bonus, okay? Because I'm so proud of you guys, and I'm gonna take... I'm going to just take some of my burden and put it on to you, essentially. In
Hey,
a
Jessica,
way.
this is Andrew. Is this going to apply to all salespeople, or is it going to apply to everybody in the company?
Yes, and Andrew, I know that you are our best salesman, but we do need to be equal with this bonus.
Hey, Jessica, can you mute Andrew soon for just a second? I just want to talk to you privately.
Sure.
Listen, if anybody's going to get fired, I think it should be Andrew.
No one's gonna get fired. I'm literally saying you guys
wink, I got it. Wink.
Okay.
Nobody's
All right.
getting fired, but Andrew's been really... You said we were all working double time. I think Andrew's been working about half time.
I disagree. I see his progress, and I do see that he's doing a lot more. But like I said, you're getting the same amount of a bonus that he is. Okay?
All right, well, let me just... If you just want to unmute him, maybe
Sure.
come back.
Hi, Andrew. Sorry about that.
Oh,
We didn't
no
really
problem.
give you any context as to why we did that, but
It's just
appreciate it.
another group meeting.
Right.
People talk all the time. So.
Right.
Yeah, no problem, Andrew.
So I wanted to give you guys a bonus, and
Whoa.
it is this pocketbook Bible. It fits right into your jacket pocket, because I know that I do make you wear business attire at home, and I appreciate you guys, following through with that.
Hey, Jessica, can I talk to you again? Just with another problem. I'm having a problem with the software on my end. I don't want to bother anybody else with it, so...
Okay, all right.
Listen, and I know you just are giving everybody the pocket Bible, and I love it. I'm a believer in Christ. His
Okay.
blood be upon my hands and all that.
Thank you,
I
God.
am worried about Andrew. I don't think he is a Christian, and I don't think he is a believer in the values of Jenny software.
Listen, Boyd. I understand. That's why I'm giving him the Bible. Okay? I'm trying to...
I think you should just fire the guy.
No, I'm not going to fire him.
Let me
He's our
take
best
his
salesman.
position.
No, he's our best salesman. I can't lose him. I just have to... He would be the perfect specimen if he just was also Christian, okay? So I'm just trying to get him on our side, okay?
All right, I mean, your business.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Andrew.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no problem, guys.
So
what? Yeah, what's the parameters behind the bonus? I'm so excited.
Well,
this is
I
great
already
news. I
told
thought I was
you.
going to lose, but
I already told you.
so we don't have to do anything extra.
No.
Oh, wonderful. Well,
You just gotta pray every day.
oh, so they were. Oh, I didn't.
Well, I mean, that's something I assume you do already. It doesn't seem like it's a parameter.
Not usually comfortable talking about this at work. In fact, Boyd, to be honest, can I talk to you for a second?
Okay.
I want to talk to you about Boyd. I
What?
think he's a great employee. I couldn't be happier working with him, and I just hope that you go above and beyond rewarding him.
Are you sure? Because I think I should fire him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, fire me. Don't. Boyd needs this job. I would be okay with that, especially with this bonus. If you have to fire somebody, please don't fire him, but, fire me.
Okay.
I can just hear a lot of worry in your voice. That's why I wanted to talk to you alone. I didn't want to say it in front of him, how much I admire and, appreciate working with somebody of his generation. And I'm just learning so much.
All right. Fine. All right. Sorry about that,
Hey, no
Boyd.
problem, guys.
Boyd, I wanted to promote you with a 20% raise.
Oh, my God, that's huge.
And, Andrew, I'm going to demote you a 20% raise.
Oh, my God. Everything's coming together for Boyd. I'm finally getting everything I wanted. I complained enough and enough and enough, and by pushing somebody else down, I was able to lift myself up higher than any height I ever achieved before. I'm going to be leading Jenny's software company.
It's scene. That was a little, we threw in a little inside joke in there, because the voice it was doing is this, one of the former apostles of the LDS Church called Boyd K. Packer, and that's Andrew's impression of him.
Hey, I didn't make him that.
Oh, I know, I did, for sure, just for all of our ex-Mormon friends out there, just to enjoy that impression that you did. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Check out our social media accounts on Facebook at Moving to LA Podcast, Instagram by the same name, and Twitter at Moving to LA Pod, as well as our personal accounts. Andrew?
At A Sprague on Twitter and Andrew Sprague on Instagram.
And mine is Jessica Sprague on Twitter and Jessica _Sprague. And Jessica _ on Twitter. So if you want to subscribe to our Patreon, that would do a lot of good for us. It is on the website patreon.com/MTLA. Right now we have one Patreon. Her name is Catherine French. And the nice thing that she did this week was that she donated to Planned Parenthood in Mike Pence's name. That was so nice of her. I really appreciate it.
And nice of Mike Pence. Thanks,
It
Mike.
was so nice. Yeah, I really should say Mike Pence. Thank you so much for being pro-choice. Really, really appreciate that. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Spotify, anywhere you listen. And remember to check out our YouTube channel, Sprague Comedy. We have, like I said, a few videos up there. Go like it, subscribe, and share. Get that word going. We're trying to work through our quarantine depression. We hope it's working. And then if you have any questions or comments or suggestions for our podcast, we definitely want to get better at what we're doing. We're learning as we're going, and hopefully we can get out there in LA again soon and experience things and actually be a little more informative on living here. So thank you so much for listening. We will see you next week, and to sign off, if you can make it here,
You've made it here.